Hi friends, welcome to the Gurukul 10th class SSC Biology questionnaire series. Today I'll be covering some important concepts related to the nutrition chapter. First, we need to define what is nutrition. The mode of acquiring food for our daily energy purpose is known as nutrition. We have to define what is autotrophic and heterotrophic modes of nutrition. But first, for that, we need to know what are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are those organisms which are able to manufacture their own food, who are able to prepare their own food, whereas heterotrophs are those organisms who cannot prepare their own food and are in turn depending on the autotrophs for their food and energy needs. Hence, autotrophic mode of nutrition is defined as that mode of nutrition which is used by all the green plants in acquiring food, in preparing their own food. Whereas heterotrophic mode of nutrition is defined as that mode of nutrition wherein the heterotrophs are depending on the autotrophs for their food and energy needs. So, covering these two modes of nutrition is very important. Then we have to know what is photosynthesis and who has proposed the equation for photosynthesis. The equation for photosynthesis was proposed by Van Niel. We have to know what is meant by photosynthesis. It is a complex process wherein carbon dioxide is fixed by the green plants in the presence of light and using a pigment called as chlorophyll. Carbon dioxide reacts with water in the presence of light and chlorophyll and is reduced to glucose. Again water is released, again oxygen is released. So this is the equation for photosynthesis. Where does photosynthesis take place? The photosynthesis takes place in all the green plants, the green bacteria, the blue-green bacteria and some purple bacteria which have the pigment chlorophyll. So for photosynthesis to take place, the pigment chlorophyll is most important. Why are plants green in color? The plants are green in color because of the presence of the pigment called as chlorophyll. The chlorophyll will harvest the light energy from the sun and converts it to chemical energy. Hence, photosynthesis can be defined as a complex biochemical process used by the green plants wherein the light energy is trapped and is converted to biochemical energy in the form of glucose. So, where does photosynthesis take place? Photosynthesis takes place in all the green plants, and we have to know the structure of chloroplast. And where is this chlorophyll present? The chlorophyll is present in cell organelles called as the chloroplasts. The plants are green in color because of the presence of the pigment chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is present in certain organelles called as chloroplasts. Apart from chlorophyll, we have other photosynthetic pigments like the keratin, the xanthophyll and the anthocyanin. Chlorophyll is of two types, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So altogether we have the following photosynthetic pigments: chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, keratin, xanthophyll and anthocyanin, which take part in the process of photosynthesis. And once we know the definition, the equation and where does photosynthesis take place, we should know in detail the mechanism of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is of two steps. One is the light reaction and the other is the dark reaction. The light reaction is also called as Hill reaction because it takes place in the presence of light. One important process occurs here which is called as photolysis of water, where the water molecule that is absorbed is split into hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. and these hydroxyl ions combine and recombine and again form the water molecule, and oxygen is evolved in this process. This was shown by Robert Hill, who said that the oxygen that is evolved during photosynthesis comes from water, which is a very important concept for all the students to understand. Then what happens to this hydrogen ion that is liberated as a result of photolysis of water molecule? This hydrogen ion is accepted by a complex compound called as NADP, which is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, and it's get reduced to NADPH. At the same time, ADP, which is adenosine dinucleotide phosphate, accepts one phosphorus molecule and gets converted to ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which is also called as the energy currency of the cell. All the chemical energy is in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. At the end of light reaction, the assimilatory powers are produced, which are the ATP and NADPH, which participate in the dark reaction. The light reaction is also called as the photochemical phase, which is the light dependent reaction, and it takes place in the presence of light, whereas the dark reaction is the biochemical phase and it is the light independent reaction. Why is dark reaction also called as the light independent reaction? Because it doesn't need light for the reaction to proceed. Now what happens in dark reaction? What happens in dark reaction is the carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by the plant, gets reduced to glucose. It is called as the reduction of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide gets reduced to glucose, and we have a primary carbon dioxide acceptor called as RUBP, which is ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. So the carbon dioxide that is absorbed by the plant is accepted by a primary carbon dioxide acceptor called as RUBP or ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate and is reduced to glucose. This glucose is converted to a complex carbohydrate called as starch. And what are the end products of photosynthesis? The end products of photosynthesis are glucose, starch, water and oxygen. And the oxygen that is evolved comes from the splitting of water molecule. And light is essential. The entire process takes place in the presence of light. Hence, photosynthesis is a complex biochemical process where the light energy is converted to chemical energy. Apart from these important concepts, we have to know what are the important experiments that you have to cover. The important experiments that you have to cover are: oxygen is evolved during photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is necessary for the process of photosynthesis. Sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis, and chlorophyll is also important and most necessary for photosynthesis to take place. So these are the following experiments which you need to stress. And what are the other important diagrams that you have to practice in this concept? They are the TS of leaf and the structure of chloroplast. So if you are thorough with these concepts pertaining to the autotrophic mode of nutrition, you are most likely to score 100% marks. Thank you, dear friends. For the continuation of heterotrophic mode of nutrition, please keep watching the Gurukul questionnaire series biology. Thank you very much.